Hey y'all, happy Tuesday, happy spoken word Tuesday. I hope you guys days come along fine. Anyway, on Tuesdays, you guys know I like to bring the word, right? And today I'll be reading out of the Apocrypha, one of the books that was removed from the Bible, from the chapter of Ecclesiastes, chapter 49, okay? Which I done a shorts out this chapter on Friday. So I just wanted to, run through this whole chapter for you guys. Ecclesiastes, one of the books that was, that's part of Apocrypha, and the whole Apocrypha was moved from the Bible. But you guys need to know that Apocrypha is very, very deep, right? So the short I read earlier, and this is from Ecclesiastes, the chapter I'm going to be reading to, chapter 49, again, which is the same chapter I read last week on my Friday video, for you guys, to try to consider your lifestyle and see what kind of lifestyle you live in. So that verse is in this chapter 49 as well of Ecclesiastes. Also, Ecclesiastes is the same one as Sirach. Okay, so Sirach, Ecclesiastes is the same chapter, right? And again, the Ecclesiastes chapter 49 verse 10 reads as follows. And of the 12 prophets, let the memorial be blessed, and let their bones flourish again out of their place. For they comforted Jacob and delivered them by a sure hope. You see, and remember, guys, the 12 prophets, the 12 sons of the 12 sons of Jacob, right? Who are the apple of the Father's eye, who creates Israel. Okay, so he's just saying, let the memorial be blessed, right? Allow their bones to be flourished again out of their flesh, right? For they comforted Jacob and delivered them by assured hope. So let Israel bones flourish again, right? Allow their bones to be flourished, and because they comforted Jacob, right? Create the memorial, right? Let's go ahead and bring about again, Jacob's 12 sons or the 12 prophets, right? As we rise, as Israel rise, okay? And again, I'm reading out Ecclesiastes chapter 49, the Apocrypha, which is one of the books that was removed from the Bible, right? Verse 1. So this is going to talk about basically the life of certain prophets. So you guys can get an understanding of what these prophets did or how the Father looked at them, right? For their works and their devices of the works that allowed the Father to well please them, give them memorials, give them blessings and everything, or put their name in here so perpetually they will be known forever, okay, as a memorial. All right. Again, Ecclesiastes or Sirach, these books are the Apocrypha, which was removed from the Bible, right? Chapter 49, verse 1 reads as follows. The remembrance of Josias is like the composition of the perfume that is made by the art of the apothecary. It is sweet as honey in all mouths and as music at a banquet of wine. So remember Josias, I said last week, his behavior, his lifestyle was so well pleasing to the Father, right, that the Father allowed his name to be written in here because of his importance, right? So he was vital to Israel, right? And the Father seen that, so he wanted to create a memorial by putting him in here, so that his name can never be not remembered, but remembered throughout ages and throughout generations because of his behavior. And it's just saying that the remembrance of Josiah is his memory, right? His memorial, right? It's like the composition of the perfume that is made by the art of the apothecary. So the apothecary is just different plants and everything. When you getting and you straining the sweet the perfumes out of the smells and everything, and you getting all these sweet sweet smells from different plants, right? That's coming up with these nice smells, which is apothecary from different plants made together to create a perfume. Okay, so he's saying that Jose's behavior is like the composition of the perfume. The apothecary, all the plants that was drained of all the perfumes put together, right? And it's created to become sweet as honey in all mouths and as music at a banquet of wine. So music to the ears when the banquet of wine drinking. That's how he comparing Josias, comparing him to the sweet as honey, the apothecaries of all the leaves that was made to make the perfumes, that creates the honey smell, right? As in our mouth, the sweet taste of our mouth. And Josias was like just the comforter or the humbleness or of us when we look to music, when we drink on our wine, so as the music of the banquet of wine, we enjoyed his presence during our wine. Okay, verse 2. He behaved himself uprightly in the conversion of the people and took away the abomination of iniquity. So you see Josias, his lifestyle, he behaved his way, he behaved uprightly, right? In the congregation or in the conversion of people. So his lifestyle was well known, right? His lifestyle, he presented his lifestyle in a certain way, in an upright way, in the congregation of the people. And he took away the abomination of the people. So all that stuff that was going around during the time of Josiah's days, he removed the abomination so they can practice the laws, truthfully. All right. Verse 3, he directed his heart unto the Lord, and in the time of the ungodly, he established a worship of God. So you see, in the time of the ungodly, it was a lot of ungodly things going on. But when Josiah, came around, he directed, and everything. He directed his heart unto the Lord, and he established, worship of God during the ungodly times, all right? Verse 4. And this we're going to talk about again. I read this short last week about David, Ezekiel, and Josiah. Who was the only three that wasn't defected. Who was the only three prophets that was defected. Everybody else was defected. So we're talking about hundreds, thousands, millions was defected. Who was servants of the Father. But these three, Josiah, Ezekiel, and David was not defected. All right, so verse 4. All except David and Ezekiel and Josiah were defective. For they forsook the law of the Most High, even the kings of Judah fell. So they saying everybody was defective except for David, Ezekiel, and Josiah. Everybody, went against the Father and everything and did evil, okay, and forsook the law of the Most High. Even the kings of Judah, they also failed, okay. Verse 5. Therefore, he gave their power unto others and their glory to a strange nation. So we wonder why we're in the predicament we're in now. Remember, I told you guys the pocket was deep. So because we didn't honor the Father, right, he gave all our glory to a strange nation. So that strange nation over there is living in our glory, right? But we so foolish, and sleep, not even to realize that we supposed to be that glory. But because we wanted to, create abominations and go against the Father and forsake his laws, all of our glory is given to a strange nation. So let me just read that again, right? Therefore, he gave their power unto others and their glory to a strange nation. Right now, all our glory is in a strange nation. But right now, remember, we got to create a memorial, for the 12 sons, 12 prophets, right? So for restoration, right? Create a memorial, allow their bones to flourish again. Allow us to come together and rise as Israel so we can get our glory back from this strange nation. Okay? Verse 6. They burnt the chosen city of the sanctuary and made the street desolate according to the prophecy of Jeremiah. So they burnt, the chosen city of the sanctuary and desolated, right? According to the prophet Jeremiah, okay, or Jeremiah. For they entreated him evil, who nevertheless was a prophet, sanctified in his mother's womb, that he might root out and afflict and destroy, and that he might build up also and plant. So now, okay, for they entreated him evil, who nevertheless was a prophet, sanctified in his mother's womb, okay? So who they're talking about was the prophet. Now, it looked like because the Messiah was in the womb, he was already spoken of before he came in the womb. So this verse could be pertaining to the Messiah. For they entreated him evil, who nevertheless was a prophet, the Messiah was a prophet, sanctifying his mother womb. Gabriel came down and told Mary she's gonna have a boy, who would be God's son, that he might root out and afflict and destroy, and that he might build up also a plant. And you see, the Messiah came and he building up everything is given to him. Everybody should bow down. So we should be, he should be the root and we should be the branches or the plants. Okay, so the Messiah here he's talking about the Father, all the people, entreated him with evil, but, he was the prophet, okay, and sanctified his mother's womb, right, that he might root out and afflict and destroy all those ungodly people, and that he might build up also a plant, see, put up a plant, Israel, build him again so he can rise again. Okay, verse 8. It was Ezekiel who saw the glorious vision which was shewed him upon the chariot of the cherubims, or the cherubim. See, now he's talking about, what the prophets did, making it known because they're important, right? He's saying this, right, so you guys can know how to live. If you follow the prophets, then you do well. So he's repeating and letting you know, or showing examples, the same example what the prophets did that was pleasing to the Father. So let's go at it again. All right. It was Ezekiel who saw the glorious vision which was shewed him upon the chariot of the cherubims, right? For he made mention of the enemies under the figure of the rain and directed them that went right. So Ezekiel, who saw the glorious vision that was showed up to him upon the chariot of the cherubims, and he also made mention of the enemies under the figure of the rain, and he directed all the righteous ones. Okay. And of the 12 prophets, let the memorial be blessed, and let their bones flourish again out of their place. For they comforted Jacob and delivered them by a sure hope. Of course, I read this short to you guys this morning. So again, and the 12 prophets, and of the 12 prophets, let the memorial be blessed. Let the memorial be blessed, right? Okay, and let their bones flourish again. Rise up again, Israel, out of their place. For they comforted Jacob. Jacob was very comforted by his 12 sons, and the 12 sons who are the apple of the Father's eye. Okay, and let's see. And he delivered them by assured hope. Okay, so hope. He was hopeful with them as well. Okay, they was delivered by assured hope. Okay, from the Father, having hope in the Father, having faith in the Father. Faith are things hoped for, not seen. Okay. Verse 11, how shall we magnify Zerubbabel? Even he was a signet on the right hand. So was Jesus, the son of Joseph, who in their time built the house and set up an holy temple to the Lord, which was prepared for the everlasting glory. And among the elect was Nemus, who renowned is great, who raised up for us the walls that were fallen, and set up the gates and the bars, and raised up our ruins again. So you see, he's talking about these prophets, okay? Zerubbabel, he said, how should we magnify Zerubbabel? Even he was a signet on the right hand. He was a signet, he was a sign. He was a work for the Father, right? Doing great works on the right hand, trying to direct the people to go by the Father too. Then it says, so was Jesus, another, the son of Joseph. So we're not talking about the Messiah, but we're talking about Jesus, the son of Joseph, who in his time, he built the house and set up the holy temple for the Lord, which was prepared for everlasting glory. So that house, he built the temple, is prepared for everlasting glory, which is another righteous work, okay? And he was important. These people are so important that he had to place them in the Apocrypha, or the Bible, right? Okay? And he said, for 13, and among the elect was Nemus. So he's telling you right now, Nemus is an elect. Remember, he got these elect. Nemus is elect, okay? Who was renowned and great. So he was great and renowned. And he raised up the walls that were fallen. So the towers were falling. All the Gentiles and the heathens came and destroyed. Nemus, who was the elect, came and raised them back up, okay? And he set up the gates and the bars and raised up our ruins again. So he, created the temple again. The temple that was, broke down, beat down from the heathens and Gentiles. Nemus, who was an elect or and renowned, it was known for great, came and rebuilt the walls, okay, all the ruins, okay, and set up the gates and bars again. All right, but verse 14. But upon the earth was no man created like Enoch, for he was taken from the earth, right? So Enoch, he walked 365 days and he was gone. Nobody knew he was. So he making reference of this, or creating a memorial for Enoch, right? Verse 14 again. But upon the earth was no man created like Enoch, for he was taken from the earth. Enoch was taken from the earth. I think he walked and he was 365 years and then he was gone, not to be seen again. But he was so uprighteous that he didn't have to die. He was taken. The Father, he well pleased him so much that the Father just took him on up and showed him all the other heavens and what's supposed to come in the time being. Verse 15. Neither was there a man born like unto Joseph, right? A governor of his brethren, a stay of the people whose bones were regarded of the Lord. So remember, Joseph was, the brother of the 12 tribes, who sold him to Egypt. Then he became second in command of Pharaoh, went to jail and everything. And the reason why he became second in hand, because Pharaoh had a dream, and the butcher and them could not, and the chief butcher and the chief baker could not, interpret those. Those, the magicians and all that. He had magicians and everything, could not interpret, could interpret his dream, so he had them killed. But it was a butcher and a chief baker in the prison where Joseph was, Joseph, who was regarded as by the Father, who was the brothers of the 12 tribes. And, Simeon them sold him and, told Abraham that he was dead. The animals ate him up and brought the coat full of colors to them. But that wasn't, the Father used that was using Joseph, for his purpose. So therefore, again, neither was there a man born like unto Joseph. He was a governor of his brethren, because Joseph would have dreams and everything and tell his brethren how basically the sun, the moon, and stars, and how the stars was the brothers that was bowed down to him, and how the sun and the moon was the parents. Who was that? Jacob, okay, Jacob and Rebecca. The sun and the moon was Jacob and Rebecca was who was his parents, okay. So he's saying, Joseph stayed the people. So during the famine, when they sold him to Pharaoh and them, and he went to prison because when he was sold, he went to someone else, and he was staying. He had a lord that he was staying in the house and helping him with the house. But the wife of the lord came at him, then lied. So he went to prison because the wife said that Joseph tried to sleep with her, but in fact it was the other way around. Joseph was righteous, so he left. But of course, she had his scarf or something, so she told him that Joseph tried to rape her. So the Lord sent him to jail. He went to jail, and that's when he met the chief baker and the chief butcher, and told them that one of them was gonna die. And they told him that that Pharaoh needed a dream interpreted. So Joseph said he'd do it. So after he interpreted the dream, Pharaoh made Joseph second in command under all Pharaoh. Okay, under Pharaoh kingdom, right? So Pharaoh was the king, but Joseph right underneath them because it's of righteousness. That's why he said, neither was there a man born like unto Joseph, a governor of his brethren. He was a governor of his brethren because when his brother, when he was in Egypt, it was a famine happening in Abraham and land. All of them had to come. So he helped his family during that time, all throughout Egypt, while Joseph was second in command. But when they died, when all their generation died, that's when another king came in and started enslaving slaving Israel. In that time after all the generation had died, and they slaved. The other king came in because he didn't know Joseph, so they slaved Israel with vigor labor, and that's what happened. That's how they became slaves of vigor labor. All right, and let me read that one more time though. Neither was there a man born like unto Joseph, a governor of his brethren, a stay of the people, whose bones were regarded of the Lord. And the reason why I said of bones, because Joseph wanted his bones taken back to Israel, even though he was in Egypt all those years. When he died, Israel that was left, the descendants and all that prosperity, took Joseph's bones back to Israel. And verse 16, the final verse, even Shem and Seth. Remember Shem and Seth, who was like maybe the third or fourth children of Adam and Eve. You see how important that is, right? Shem, Sam, and Seth were in great honor among men, and so was Adam above every living thing in the creation. So now he's going back to Adam, because Adam, you remember, he was above every living thing in the creations, but his sons, Shem and Seth, were in great honor among men. Okay? All right, you guys, so that was Ecclesiastes chapter 49 from the Apocrypha. Of course, one of the books that was removed from the Bible, right? So you guys see now that I'm reading out of Apocrypha now because I done went through the Bible, what? So it seems like the Father led me onto the Apocrypha to read to you guys, right? Which is very deep. So I'm going to be focused on the Apocrypha, right? And I beg you guys to read the Bible if you want to understand the Apocrypha, okay? And you got to take your time. I'll tell you, write down definitions, notes, everything, being focused, dedicating your time, not allowing distractions, right? Because the Father said, if you seek him diligently, then he will bring you to all the ancient truths, right? He will allow you power, but it got to be done in spirit of truth. And he take you through trials and tribulations and tests. Trust me, I'm going through so many, and I'm hoping that I'm worthy enough, that the Father said me worthy enough, and that I pass these tests, right? All right, you guys, so Ecclesiastes chapter 49 of the Apocrypha, one of the books that we moved from the King James Version Bible. All right, you guys, so I just told you guys about the prophets, the 12 prophets, of who comforted Jacob, and the 12 prophets who we must create a memorial for and allow their bones to flourish again. So we rise. All right, you guys. Love you guys. Happy Tuesday. Bye now.